I have been learning IELTS for almost 12 years and have done all IELTS practice tests possible, multiple times actually. I have gone from fully books and papers by sharing my IELTS preparation materials to fully digital by creating a website for the IELTS exam. But we all know that paper-based IELTS will no longer be available anywhere in the world very soon. So we have really no choice but to adapt fully to the computer-based version. So the question we have here is, how can we make our preparation effective, cost-friendly, and less tiring in this digital day and age? So in this video, I'm going to share with you my honest reviews about devices and apps for IELTS preparation when it comes to the computer-based version of this exam. Now, the first thing you need to have is computer skills. And this is obvious because we are taking an exam on a computer. And we don't have to know the heavy stuff like designing or coding. We only need to have basic knowledge about computers in order to do well in the IELTS exam. We need to know how to type. We need to know how to use the mouse. And the difference between a right click and a left click. And we need to be able to get familiar with the screen as soon as possible. Like the less time you spend on knowing what is in front of you, the more time you can spend on focusing on the exam and you don't get really confused when it comes to using that computer. But there's one thing that I think no one is talking about. This is the keyboard that we are using in our practice and the keyboard that at the testing center. So basically, I'm an Apple user, and this is the kind of keyboard that I use every day. This keyboard, for me, is easy, right? But I'm not familiar with this kind of keyboard, which I received every single time I took IELTS computer-based. It did not stop me from typing in reading and writing, but it was a little bit confusing and kind of scary for me when I was in the listening exam because I had to listen and do everything with that keyboard and I was not familiar with that. So I'm speaking to you, Apple users, directly, okay? We need to forget about this, all right? And we need to get used to that kind of keyboard because most testing centers now still have Windows computers. My advice for you is that after you have booked the exam with a test center, ask around maybe on the internet or friends or family members, whoever has taken IELTS with that particular test center to know what kind of computer and keyboard they have. After that, you can borrow from a friend something similar to the keyboard that they have or a computer that runs on Windows and practice. Just get yourself familiar with that. Now let's talk about devices. Instinctively, we would use our phone to practice. When we decide to take the IELTS exam, the first thing we would do is to go on the internet, Google or something like that, to search for information about the IELTS exam. And this phone will serve a purpose of giving you the information, telling you what kind of structure in reading and writing you will need to pay attention to and you need to face. But other than that, I don't think a phone would be very useful for your IELTS preparation because the screen is too small to practice. And the only thing that a phone will be very useful for you and very convenient for you is when you practice for speaking. For example, if you go on Practice Night where I give you free practice tests for the IELTS exam, you can also practice for IELTS speaking on your phone on the way to work or on the way to school, for example. But other than that, I don't think it is very useful and it is very convenient for you when it comes to practicing for the IELTS exam. I do have lessons that you can access on your phone, quite mobile friendly, but the practice test must be done on a wide screen device. It brings me to two options for you for practicing: the laptop and a tablet, or in this case, I have an iPad. A laptop is the option that we almost instinctively think about when we start practicing for the IELTS exam. You get everything you need on Practice Night, for example, and you can practice all the skills on a laptop. The only thing here is, again, the keyboard. You need to make sure that you have the kind of keyboard, or at least you are familiar with the kind of keyboard that you will be getting during your actual exam. get familiar with that, and you are okay. But the thing here is that when you are practicing, it is necessary for you to also know the mistakes that you are making. Try to do a little bit of note taking, reminding yourself of something that you shouldn't do or you should do in your exam. In that case, you can type the notes on your computer, and you can make sure that the notes are visible on the screen. But as somebody who loves writing and who loves taking notes, myself, I don't feel really comfortable with taking notes on my computer because it doesn't stick. So I often take notes outside of my computer, putting it in front of me. In the beginning, I would be using a notebook, something like this, or paper. But I would lose these books very often. Like, who doesn't, right? So for me, it was a little bit messy when I was using a notebook, which was the reason why I got my iPad. The screen on the iPad is wide enough for you to practice for your IELTS practice test. You can also take notes with a pencil. The only problem with an iPad is that when it comes to typing for listening, reading, and especially writing, it doesn't feel real because you don't have a physical keyboard. You have to type on the screen unless you have a keyboard attached to an iPad like the one that I have over here, or the tablet that you have like the one that I have over here. Again, keyboard is also a problem. Some keyboard doesn't really feel like the actual physical keyboard that you often have with a computer at the at the test center. So that is why you really, again, need to get yourself familiar with the keyboard. Okay. But apart from that, an iPad, if you don't have a laptop, an iPad or a tablet is enough for you to practice. And it's also very, very good for note taking. At the same time, if you don't have a keyboard here, but you have an iPad, a tablet, and a laptop, this is the sweet combination of practicing. If you have a laptop, you can practice for your IELTS, reading, listening, writing, speaking on the laptop, and take notes and keep everything organized on your iPad. This is gonna be the best option for you. But if you don't have either of them, it will be fine. Now, if you like me and you have an iPad or a tablet, it is almost natural for you to want to have a good note-taking app. Because why would you write on this when you have this? And if you want to write on this, why would you get this in the first place? I have been using GoodNotes for a few years and I have been enjoying using GoodNotes. I did almost everything related to note taking on GoodNotes, like giving writing evaluations for my clients when they were trying to do the paper-based exam. I also organized my ideas, organized my content. I also taught my clients, like taking one-on-one classes, sharing the screen of the GoodNotes. Everything was done on GoodNotes and I enjoyed it actually. Just recently I was introduced and I was asked to try out an app called Note. And just after a few days of trying, I decided to switch because it felt so much more convenient than GoodNotes. Note has a function that I really, really like. It is the translation function. Now you don't have to switch to another app to search for the word anymore. You can do everything on the same app. It is very convenient. It saves you a lot of time. It also helps you connect to your, say, ChatGPT account so that you can use your account in your note as well. For example, if you are trying to practice for IELTS speaking, what you can do is to write down the answers that you have for the IELTS speaking questions and then use the AI to check your vocabulary and your grammar, fix everything, and then use the recording function to record your voice. Everything will be stored on your device and you can access it anytime with your device. I also share Note to my clients and some of them were extremely smart. They used the split screen function on the iPad to cooperate Practice 9 and Note. So for example, they would use the IELTS dictionary that I created, learn a few words, one or two words, for example, and then use Note to write down the sentences that they have for that particular phrase or word, or use the translation version and then bookmark the page for future revision. This is extremely convenient and this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's not really about how many functions an app has. It is about how convenient it is and how it makes your life easier. And I really enjoy it. I also use it for my Chinese classes. Now I don't have to switch between different apps to check for the meaning, and I just love it because it saves me so much time. On top of that, you can also customize the theme color of the app based on whatever you like. So when I switched to Practice Night brand color, the app does look like my own app. Color Note is $14 for a lifetime license, and compared to other popular note-taking apps, I think this is significantly cheaper given the number of functions that you will get and the convenience that it provides. After trying it out, I really liked it. I reached out to the Color Note team and I got the offer from the Color Note team for 50% off for everybody using my discount code. So use code Practice 9 at checkout to get 50% off your purchase. And this is a lifetime license. It sounds too good to be true, right? I was also wondering, what is the catch? The catch is that at the moment, Color Note is only available on iPad. It is not available yet on any Android devices. But I hope that Color Note's team, if you guys are watching this video, please listen to us. We love you. We love your app, and please make it available on Android as well. But if you don't have an iPad, it's okay. You can still use notebooks and papers like this, right? Everybody can use. But if you want to go fully digital, still you can use GoodNotes. It is a good app. It's a little bit more expensive than Color Note. You can use a free version first to test it out, and then you can go ahead with a yearly subscription or lifetime access as you wish. But I also have another option for you. This option may not be the first option for you to choose, but just in case you want to have something that can help you boost your productivity, not only for IELTS preparation, but also in daily life. So 2 years ago, I bought this Remarkable 2 Pro, and I have been loving this every second. And I have been using it a lot in my videos, in my classes, and if you have ever attended any master classes with me or any class with me or watch a video that I made, this showed up a lot. The screenshot from this showed up a lot. And I have been alternating between the Remarkable and my iPad with the Color app. I don't want you to run to the store to buy this device right away, because if you just want this for IELTS preparation, I think it may be a little bit unnecessary because it's quite expensive compared to just an app. But if you want to use it for long term, say for note taking every day, go ahead and do so. At the end of the day, we need to practice. Now, the tools are there to help you. The devices are there to also make it faster for you. You should use whatever you already have and spend just a little more amount of money to get an app, for example, to help you organize your study. Practice tests and materials are available on practicenight.co. I'll see you on Practice Night. For now, have fun learning. Bye.